Good afternoon, everyone. For today's discussion, I'm gonna discuss to you my designated topic, which is the empirical model. But empirical model is under in environmental modeling. So before we proceed into our main discussion, let's have first a introduction of environmental modeling. Now, what is environmental modeling? Environmental modeling, it involves the application of multidisciplinary knowledge to explain, explore, and predict the Earth's response to environmental changes. Models are representations of the environment that can be used to inform regulations or management decisions. Modeling is a systematic approach and projected representations of a system, phenomenon, or situation. It could be through equation, graph, map, and visuals. Models can help to understand the state of our situation or phenomenon, not experience or visualize at present, but there is a possibility of it occurring in future. So one of the purpose of any model is to enable an analyst user to predict the effect of changes in the concerned system or phenomenon. Such predictive modeling is the process of using previous known results to create a model that can be used to forecast future outcomes. But a model, on the other hand, should be close approximation to the real system. It should not be very complex to understand and able to do an experiment using it. So a good model is one that keeps balance between realism and simplicity. But why are models used? So models have a long history of helping to explain scientific phenomena and predict outcomes behavior in settings where empirical observations are limited or not available. So models are based on simplifying assumptions of environmental process and cannot completely replicate the inherent for a variety of purposes. So models can be described into two broad categories. So first is to diagnose, second is to forecast outcomes and future events. Models can be used to inform a variety of activities including research, toxicity screening, policy analysis, and natural regulatory decision making, and lastly, the implementation applications. So there are actually three main types of model, but the one that I'm going to discuss to you is the empirical model. Now, what is empirical model? Empirical models are not based on physical principles or assumptions about the relationship between variables. So, they known as statistical models and based on observations rather than a theory. They usually rely on the idea that if a particular outcome follows a particular circumstances, then that outcome can be predicted on the future. Empirical models are essential tools for understanding complex systems, verifying theoretical predictions, estimating coefficients, evaluating models, and informing policy decisions. So they bridge the gap between theoretical and real-world observations, enabling researchers to gain valuable insights into the phenomena that they study. So let's proceed into the disadvantages of empirical model. So while empirical models were widely used and valuable in scientific research, they also have some disadvantages. So here are few of them. So first, data limitations. Empirical models heavily rely on available data for analysis and modeling. So if the data used limited in terms of quality, quantity, or representativeness, it can affect the accuracy and relatability of the model's predictions or findings. So additionally, data collection can be time consuming and costly, especially for large scale studies or when specific data is difficult to obtain. So second, assumptions and simplifications. Empirical models often make assumptions and simplifications to represent complex and broad phenomena. So these assumptions may not always capture the full complexity of the system being studied, leading to potential biases or inaccurateness in the model's results. So it is important to critically evaluate the appropriateness of these assumptions and consider the potential effect on the model's validity. The next one is generalizability. So empirical models are typically developed based on specific data sets and contexts. So the applicability and generalizability of the model's findings to other populations, settings, or time periods may be limited. So it is important to consider the specific conditions under which the model was developed and assess whether the findings can be um, extrapolated to other situations. Next is overfitting and overgeneralization. Empirical models can be prone to overfitting, where the model becomes too closely tailored to the specific datasets used for its development, resulting in poor performance when applied to new data. So, on the other hand, overgeneralization can occur when the model is overly simplified or assumes relationships that may not hold true in different contexts, leading to inaccurate predictions and or conclusions. So the last one is complexity and interpretability. Some empirical models, particularly those based on advanced statistical techniques or machine learning algorithms, can be highly complex and difficult to interpret. The complexity may limit the ability to understand and explain the underlying mechanisms or relationships captured by the model, making it challenging to gain insights or communicate findings to a wider audience. It is important to note that these advantages do not invalidate the use of empirical models. Uh, actually highlighted the need for careful consideration, critical evaluation, and appropriate interpretations of the results. By acknowledging these limitations, we can strive to improve the robustness and applicability of empirical models in scientific research. Now let's proceed into the advantages of empirical model. So empirical models offer several advantages in various fields. So here's are some of the advantages of empirical models. So first is simplistic solutions. Empirical models provide simplistic solutions for quantitative comparisons between different operating conditions. Second is the flexibility. It can accurately accommodate a broad range of datasets. And third is the efficiency. Empirical research enables researchers to understand dynamic changes and adjust their strategies accordingly. So, next is control. Empirical research allows researchers to have a high level of control over multiple variables. And the last one is increasing internal validity, where empirical research plays a vital role in increasing internal validity. This will be the end of my discussion, and for those remaining types of model will be tackled by the next designated reporter.